Nick here from Square One Gaming at E3. Here we have Seth Killian. I'm glad to have him with us. So I just got a few questions. All right, my first question is going to be, when did you first start gaming?
First start gaming, period?
Yeah, like when you first started getting into video games.
Oh, I was a little kid, I think, probably around 5. I started playing Miss Pac-Man, I think was my favorite game. So that goes a long way back, but I grew up in arcades and those are my favorite games. So.
All right, next one. What would you say would be like the first console that you've ever owned, like any type of console?
I know that well. It was an Atari 5200, which was the one that came after the Atari 2600. 2600 had all the good games. 5200 did not have a lot of good games. It had a perfect port of Pac-Man, which was nice. So I liked the Pac-Man game was way good. And then other than that, I had like a crummy space shuttle game and Keystone Cops, which was also nice.
Oh wow. All right. Next one. How are fans reacting to the new Street Fighter Cross Tekken?
It's been a bumpy road in a lot of ways. So the fans are very specific about everything they like. So it's trying to meet all those interests. But there's been a lot of really fun matches, and we've got a giant tournament series coming up next year with a bunch of money. So I think there's a lot of people who are going to give the game a good shot competitively. It's been really fun to watch them play. So I think it's a good fun game.
Are you looking forward to that new Street Fighter Collectors coming out later this year?
Yeah, that looks really awesome. So I've asked them to set one aside for me already, and hopefully I'll get a nice low number, but they said that there's no guarantees, so we'll see what happens. But I'm definitely going to get one.
All right. Next question. How long did it take for you to master the Street Fighter characters?
Well, I've been playing for 20 years. I've played Street Fighter for 20 years, and I'd still say I'm not a master of the character. So I still learn things almost every time I play. So it's one of those lifetime to master kind of problems. But I have a great time the whole way, so here's for another 20 years.
All right. Next, did your parents support you in video games?
I think nobody really thought of video games as a career back then. I didn't even really think about it as a career. So I think they worried I spent a little too much time going to the arcade or would play too much, but they were pretty cool about it, and didn't give me too hard of a time. So my mom's always really nice and tried her best to support me, even if she didn't understand what I was excited about. But yeah, I would say overall they stayed out of the way.
Okay.
On video games, yeah. Best you can answer.
All right. What was the point in your life when you decided that you wanted to play competitively?
You know what? Street Fighter was always a game that you basically have to play competitively, at least in the arcades, right? You're either winning or losing. So if you win, you don't have to put another quarter in. And I didn't have a lot of quarters growing up, so I really wanted to win. So it was a pretty natural extension for me to slide from playing just other games sort of more for fun to playing this competitively, because it allowed me to save my money, and I really liked the challenge of being like a younger kid, but I was able to compete against older kids or even grown-ups, which was weird. So that was really exciting for me, and then from there it was just sort of a slide into the competitive circuit.
All right. And our second to last question, where do you think the game industry is going?
I think that's a really challenging question right now, especially because console is still doing a lot of really exciting things, but there's no question that social games and mobile games have seen a huge growth. So mostly I'm really excited about a lot of the indie stuff that's happening here, the independent stuff, because the tools, it's still the case that to make a game like your Resident Evil 6 or Street Fighter or something, you spend a lot of money, it requires a lot of specialized tools and a large team, but it's become possible recently to make actually a small team, but using some really powerful tools to make your own game. So it's not necessarily going to look as good or be as huge as some of the games that need more money on bigger teams, but you can make a really fun game and find a way to sell it as well on the mobile. So I think that's shown huge growth and huge strength.
All right. And our last question is, what is your most anticipated game for E3 2012?
Right now, I'm pretty excited about a game called The Last of Us.
The Last of Us?
Yeah, so I got a special appointment to go see that in a little while. I got to pull a lot of favors to be able to sneak in there at all. I know a lot of people who work at Sony that can't get to see it, so I feel very special. But it looks like a really great game. A lot of atmosphere and mood around what's going on there, so I'm pretty excited.
I'm pretty excited for it as well. I can't wait to play the game when it comes out. I want to thank Seth for being here with us.